Cheon Yeo-Woon is nobody. That is the honest truth of his life, and everyone around him knows it. He is the illegitimate son of the Lord of the demonic cult, which sounds like it should mean something, but it means nothing. Not power, not protection, not even a real name spoken with respect. Just a boy who sleeps in the worst quarters, eats the worst food, and trains in techniques so deliberately crippled that he will never rise above the lowest rank of the cult's hierarchy. His mother is gone. His position is a joke. And the only thing that keeps him moving forward every single day is the faint, stubborn belief that survival itself is a kind of victory. That's it. That's all he has. The world he inhabits is the Murim, the vast and brutal landscape where martial artists carve their names into history through blood and chi and sheer ruthless ambition. The demonic cult sits at the violent heart of this world, a massive organization of cultivators who have rejected the orthodox sects and chosen power by any means necessary. It is not an evil place exactly, but it is not a kind one. At the top sits the cult lord, Cheon Yeo-Woon's father, a man of terrifying strength who acknowledges his illegitimate son with the same emotional energy one might acknowledge a pebble on a road. Around him circle 9 princes, 9 legitimate contenders for succession, each with powerful maternal bloodlines, elite tutors, and every resource the cult has to offer. They train with full techniques. They receive internal energy from masters. They are groomed for greatness. Cheon Yeo-Woon trains alone and receives nothing. And beneath the princes, beneath the mid-tier disciples, beneath almost everyone, there are the assassins and rivals his older half-siblings have sent specifically to remove him from the equation. Because even a powerless, illegitimate son is still a potential heir. And in the demonic cult, potential heirs are problems that powerful people solve quietly. He survives 3 attempts on his life before his 15th year. He does not report them. There's no one to report them to. The betrayal, when it comes in full, arrives not as a knife in the dark, but as something colder. More deliberate, more humiliating. It is orchestrated by the very people who wear the closest face of family. His half-brothers, specifically the most powerful among them, do not merely want him dead. They want him erased. They arrange for his training records to be falsified, making it appear he has stolen cultivation resources meant for legitimate heirs. The accusation alone is enough in the demonic cult's internal law. Theft of cultivation resources from acknowledged princes carries a sentence of public crippling followed by exile. Not death. Something worse. To be made an example, to be stripped of every bit of chi cultivation he has scratched together through years of painful solo training, and then thrown outside the walls with nothing, so that everyone in the Murim world knows exactly what he is and what he is worth. The trial is swift. It is not designed to find truth. It is designed to produce a specific outcome. Witnesses are prepared, evidence is arranged. And Cheon Yeo-Woon stands in the center of the cult's judgment hall and looks at the faces of the people who are ending his life. And he understands in that moment, with perfect, terrible clarity, that no one is coming. Not his father, who watches from the elevated seat with an expression that reveals nothing. Not the masters who trained other disciples with actual care. Not a single person in that hall. He is convicted. The crippling technique begins. And in the last conscious moment, before his QI pathways are shattered beyond recovery, something happens. A needle, impossibly thin, fired from somewhere above him. It pierces the back of his neck and disappears into his spine before anyone can track its origin. And then, Cheon Yeo-Woon collapses, and everyone assumes the sentence has simply concluded faster than expected, and the hall empties, and they leave him on the floor. He wakes up alone. He wakes up with a voice inside his head. The voice calls itself a Nano Machine, a microscopic technological entity from a future that has not happened yet, inserted into his body by a descendant, a person from centuries forward who looked back through the data of history and saw this exact moment and chose to intervene. The Nano Machine cannot give him a new life. It cannot undo what was done. But it can do something that no martial arts master in the entire Murim world can offer. It can interface directly with his biological systems, analyze his QA pathways, and guide cultivation at a cellular level that human understanding of internal energy has never reached. It can see the exact blockages in his meridians. It can calculate the optimal circulation route for his QI in real time. It can detect poisons before symptoms appear. It can monitor enemy vital signs, predict attack patterns from muscle movement, and assist his body in breaking through cultivation barriers that would take ordinary martial artists decades to surmount. He is still on the floor of the judgment hall, but he is no longer the same person who was put there. The power awakens slowly, then all at once. The Nano Machine begins repairing the damage from the crippling attempt, working through the night as he lies still, reversing what the Elder's technique had started. By morning, his QE pathways are not merely intact, they are cleaner than they have ever been. Blockages he has lived with since childhood, leftovers from the deliberately incomplete techniques he was given, are being dissolved one by one. The machine maps his body like a cartographer mapping undiscovered land, and what it finds is not a damaged, hopeless cultivation base. What it finds is potential so dense it registers as anomalous, even by the machine's calculations. He was not weak because he was inferior. He was weak because someone made absolutely sure he would be. That's it. And now that guarantee is gone. The old Cheon Yeo-Woon trained in secret and hoped no one noticed. The new Cheon Yeo-Woon trains in secret and builds a weapon. The old Cheon Yeo-Woon survived assassination attempts through luck and terrain and desperate improvisation. The new Cheon Yeo-Woon survives them because the Nano Machine detects the assassin's elevated cortisol and increased heart rate from 40 meters away. The old Cheon Yeo-Woon lowered his eyes when the legitimate princes walked past because raising them meant punishment. The new Cheon Yeo-Woon lowers his eyes because it costs him nothing and reveals nothing, and he has learned that invisibility is a weapon too. The old Cheon Yeo-Woon wanted acknowledgement, wanted his father to see him, wanted some version of belonging in the place he was born into. The new Cheon Yeo-Woon wants none of that. Not acknowledgement, not belonging. Not even justice in any form his younger self would have recognized. Just capability. Just power so complete and so quiet that when the moment arrives, there will be no uncertainty about how it ends. He begins acquiring techniques through every method available to him. He studies the cultivation manuals stored in the lower library, the ones accessible to the lowest-ranked disciples, and the Nano Machine reads the underlying key theory and extrapolates from it, filling in the advanced stages that the legitimate princes receive from tutors. He finds a partial scroll of a forbidden technique, and the machine reconstructs the missing sections from first principles. He enters the lower training grounds at hours when no one of rank is watching and pushes his cultivation through barriers that would have taken him years to crack, because the machine guides each breakthrough with surgical precision, preventing the key deviations that cripple or kill undirected cultivators who advance too fast. Within weeks, he has already passed where the mid-tier disciples stand after years of effort, and no one knows. He already knows which of his half-brothers sent the assassin who came through the eastern corridor on the 14th night. He already knows which elder falsified the testimony at his trial because the Nano Machine recorded the stress markers in the elder's voice and cross-referenced them with the prepared nature of the phrasing. He already knows that the 7th prince is planning a second attempt, This one framed not as legal procedure, but as a training accident during the upcoming inner disciple examination. He already knows the route the seventh prince's hired blade intends to use and the hour they intend to use it. He already knows which of the cult's servants report directly to the third prince and which ones merely appear to. He already knows the cultivation level of every significant figure he has encountered in the past 30 days, because the machine has been cataloging them silently the entire time. He already knows that his own cultivation level has surpassed 3 of the 9 princes and is approaching the 4th. He already knows what they would do if they learned this. He already knows he cannot let them learn this. Not yet. The examination arrives. The hall is full. The princes sit elevated, watching with expressions ranging from boredom to vague contempt. Cheon Yeo-Woon stands among the low-ranked disciples in the testing area, wearing the same worn uniform he has always worn, holding himself with the same quiet stillness that everyone in this room has long since decided to read as defeat. The first challenger approaches him, someone hired, someone confident. The fight lasts 4 seconds, not because Cheon Yeo-Woon is showing off, because 4 seconds is exactly as long as it needs to take. The second challenger approaches. He is from the legitimate faction, older, higher ranked, sent to make a point in front of witnesses. He looks at Cheon Yeo-Woon with eyes that contain absolutely zero warmth, the kind of eyes that have looked at him his entire life, eyes that see not a person, but an inconvenience, a loose thread that keeps refusing to be cut. He attacks with a technique that costs years of elite training to produce, the kind of strike that tells everyone in the room who he is and what he's capable of. And it lands on nothing because Cheon Yeo-Woon has already moved, guided by the machine's half-second predictive window, and the counter that follows is quiet, efficient, and complete. The challenger hits the floor. He does not get up. The hall is silent. Cheon Yeo-Woon does not look at his father. He does not look at his half-brothers. He stands in the center of the examination floor and looks at no one in particular and waits for the next name to be called. Because this is not the confrontation. This is not the moment of reckoning. This is not even a message. It is a single data point in a longer calculation, a proof of concept, and nothing more. The reckoning is still being built, quietly, in the hours when no one is watching. Here is what the Murim world understands about power. It goes to those who were born closest to it. Here is what Cheon Yeo-Woon now understands about power. It goes to those who are willing to rebuild themselves from the floor of a judgment hall at the moment. Everyone else has already decided they are finished. Not the talented, not the chosen, not the ones with the right blood and the right tutors and the right names spoken aloud with respect. Just the ones who refuse to stop. That is the only law that has ever actually mattered in this world, and it took losing everything to see it clearly. He was nobody. Past tense. That's it. If this hit, smash that like button. It tells the algorithm to show this to other Manhwa fans. Subscribe to Plot Vault EN so you don't miss the next recap. And drop the name of the manhwa I should recap next in the comments.